For years the folk of Millfield had gone about their accustomed tasks, making the most of their simple workaday life. Few, surveying their calm demeanor, would have dreamed of them in the roles that called for daring, for life-making adventure. Yet on November 5th, 6th, and 7th, 1930, this community became the center of world news, and the names of their dead and dying, the daring adventures of their heroes, and the bereavement of mothers, wives, fathers, sons, daughters, and relatives and friends held the heartbeat of the civilized world. Mine number 6 is located a short distance from Millfield, Ohio, in the beautiful Sunday Creek Valley, a part of the Hocking Valley coalfields. Mine number 6 is one of the large mines of the valley, and at the time of the disaster in the fall of 1930, the mine employed over 800 men, produced over 5,000 tons a day.
My maternal grandfather, Oscar Willis, and his two sons, Virgil and Andrew, were in the mine when it exploded, and they did not survive the explosion. There is family legend that the father, Oscar, and the oldest boy, Virgil, got to the bottom of the shaft or an escape route and realized that the youngest brother, Andrew, was not there, and went back into the workings to try to locate him, and they all perished.
The day of the disaster, November the 5th, 1930, dawned with a chilly autumn air. A great silver moon had kissed the peaceful, quiet valley the night before and thrown over the hills of southeastern Ohio a spell of loveliness, tranquility, and sequestered security. Most of the men were in the mine before daylight. The day of the disaster was the day of election. George White had been elected governor of Ohio, Robert Buckley, United States Senator. The wet element had made great gains over the Anti-Saloon League, and Athens County had begun to slip from the strong grip of the Republican Party. Thus were the men of Mine number 6 happily at their work, some 2 miles underground, when suddenly destruction and death was upon them. A long, low rumble passed through the more than 2 miles of entry. With unspeakable swiftness, death and destruction rode through the working places of the men.
I don't know, you kind of get kind of a numbness or something. It's not that you get insensitive, but you just don't. It's just hard to realize that everywhere you look around through the camp, and almost every house was touched by death.
Dark, slimy walls, twisted rails, tied in knots during the heat of the inferno, falling ceilings of coal, mountains of it, scattered timbers and frames, then crushed, burned bodies of men, fathers, grandfathers, young men who seemed young enough to be boys, men and boys who but a moment ago were happily at work. This is the picture of the mine disaster and Mine number 6 at Millfield.
When I showed this to my mother, she was pretty showed little emotion or any outward emotion until the bodies were brought out, and that seemed to affect her a great deal. And subsequently, she was speculating if that might have been her father or one of her brothers. While they lost 3 members of the family, there was one family that lost a father and 4 sons. So they were by no means the worst struck of the people who lost men there.
The names we engrave upon our memory, their faults we print in the sands of the sea.